Okay, here we go. Thanks for coming out here today. I think the goal today will be to spend a little over an hour and we'll build and deploy an app, and I'm going to start from like complete scratch. I don't even know what I'm going to build. It will probably be something silly and stupid, but it will show you how to go from 0 to 1 building an on-chain app. So the key piece, the tooling we'll use today is Scaffold ETH2. If you just go to scaffoldeth.io, you'll find it there. And I'm going to do an npx create ETH. So I'm going to paste this in here and just get started. This will probably use some internet, so we'll take some time. This is my Devcon app. Okay, and you'll notice here I have the choice between Hardhat and Foundry. You can choose whichever one you want. Doesn't matter really. Depends on if you're going to be writing a bunch of tests in Solidity, then Foundry is probably better. But in this case, I'm just going to deploy a simple app. So I just went with Hardhat, but it doesn't. Either one is just as good. I think Hardhat is catching up to Foundry in terms of speed, but Foundry is faster right now and great for, like I said, writing your tests in Solidity. But I just went with Hardhat today, but it was just a random decision. It could have been either one. So we're going to let this install, and it will take a little bit. Definitely there will be time for Q&A, but if you have questions along the way, just like shout them out, and I can repeat them and try to answer them. So feel free to just shout questions out. This should be like very open-ended. I'm going to go through building something with the tooling and just kind of show off both writing the smart contract and the front end, and then deploying the app to a chain. We're waiting for it to install right now, though. And actually, while it's waiting for that, I could pull up Cursor or VS Code, whatever your preference is. I kind of like Cursor because I can throw some prompts at it, and it'll do a little AI stuff for me here and there. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. I want to CD into Devcon app. Nope, not demo app. Done this a few times before. Devcon. There we go. And I'm going to do, so after you clone down the repo, you get this list of commands you need to run. So we're going to do a yarn chain, and that's going to spin up our local blockchain. And then we'll do a yarn start, and that will bring up our front end. And then we'll do, over in this terminal here, whoops, we'll do a yarn deploy. And that's going to deploy our example smart contract to our local chain. Oh, CD, Devcon app. Yarn deploy. Let's see if this works. Okay, so this is kind of the starting point. You have your code up here. Oops, Devcon app. You have your code here, and you kind of have Scaffold ETH over here. And let's get right into the smart contract. So here is our smart contract. Scaffold ETH comes with a kind of example smart contract that has a handful of different concepts already built into it. Primitives and data types. You've got events, modifiers, constructors. All the good stuff here is kind of just an example smart contract for you to quickly just kind of tinker around with Solidity. But it's a greeter contract, right? Classic greeter. We can set the string, and looks like there's some extra logic here, keeping track of how many times, and maybe this is an interesting thing here. If you send in money, it's going to set some premium flag to true, right? So let's go test that out. Let's go play around with it. So if I go to localhost, our web app should come up here. And what I'm going to do is just dink around with this set greeting first, just to make sure it's working the way we think it is. Okay, so here's our app. This is how it comes out of the box. And I'm going to jump over to this Debug Contracts tab, and that is where you can really kind of iterate and see your contract and kind of poke at it. So there was this set greeting, let's say hello world. This is going to complain that I don't have gas, but that's okay. Let's hit it and let's see what it says. It says, oh, you don't have any gas. So Scaffold ETH uses burner wallets. When you're working local, when you're doing local dev, it's a lot easier to just use a burner wallet rather than have like MetaMask and have to set the chain ID and have all those problems that come along with that. So you'll see here, I just have a burner wallet here. This is just an address that's generated. And to show that off, if I just open up localhost, I get another address. See that? There's a new address there. Let's do that one more time. Let's just open an incognito window and go to our app, and you'll see I get a new address every time because of that incognito window, because it's stored in local storage. So bad idea to have burner wallets in production, great idea to have burner wallets for dev, because you can quickly just kind of like hit buttons here and make transactions happen without having to have the MetaMask prompt come up. So right here is a faucet. That's the second thing I need. So I've got my burner wallet here, and I'm going to hit this button, and it's going to give me some ETH. So now I have ETH for gas. Now let's try this set greeting one more time and see if this works. There we go, hello world. So we were able to, let's say hello world 2. Let's try it again. We're able to send a transaction, and that's going to update the greeting in our smart contract. And let's go try that premium thing. Let's go look at that one more time. Right here, it says if there's value, it flips this premium flag to true, whatever that is. So let's send in some value. And you'll notice I can't do 0.001, right? I can't just send that amount of ETH. It's a decimal. You have to multiply it times 10 to the 18. And so Scaffold ETH has that little button over there that takes it times 10 to the 18. Now, of course, you wouldn't want your users to have to type in, 0.001 and then hit the times 10 to the 18. This is very much built for a developer, and it's meant to kind of expose to you what's happening kind of underneath the abstraction. But I need to hit that button to take it to way, and then let's see what happens. All right, hello. Let's say hello world 3 even, right? And we're sending in value now. You can see that there's money that's getting collected in the contract, and that premium flag got set to true. So this is kind of like the core game loop you want to get in with Scaffold ETH, is you want to have your smart contract up over here, and then your front end up over here. And as you add things to your smart contract, your front end will auto-adapt to it. So let's just go add something here. Let's say maybe we want to make a mapping, balances. That looks good. So for any given address, there's you went 256, so there's balances. And then let's make a function called transfer, right? And hopefully just the AI writes this for me and I don't have to do anything. But basically, we made a mapping that keeps track of balances for any given user, and then we have a function that allows us to transfer that balance, and let's deploy it and go tinker around with it. So when I do the yarn deploy, we'll get some more stuff over here. There we go. So now we have balances here. Let's check my balance. It's going to be 0, right? Yeah, I'm gonna need an initial balance. So let's copy our address, and let's go back to the constructor, and let's set this dude's balance. So we'll say balances of this address equals 1,000, sure. Now let's go deploy that again. See this kind of core loop I'm in here where I'm like dinking around with my contract, I'm hitting deploy, and then I'm going to my front end and trying it out. So what we want to do is say, hey, do we have a balance for this address? We do, okay. And then if we wanted to transfer, let's send one to Vitalik, right? You'll notice this does ENS resolution. It has a nice ENS avatar. This is something that you get out of the box with Scaffold ETH. It's made for building apps. So it has all of these components that you'll use to build your app quicker. So let's send one to Vitalik. Here we go. Uh-oh. Actually, it's 1,000 way, right? So I should not have done this thing. I should just do 1. There we go. Yeah, I didn't have the balance to send to him. And then if I go check my balance again, it should be 999, right? Okay, so we're kind of in this loop where we're able to write some Solidity and tinker around with it in the front end and try things out. So let's think of an app to build. Let's say we wanted to make like a really, really silly prediction market. We might need an address that we would call the oracle. Okay, we're going to say address public, oh man. And I'm going to call this the oracle. And I'm going to set that to, I don't know, this dude's address, I guess. I don't really know what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of tinkering around, trying to figure out what I want to do. And then let's say there's like maybe 3 possible outcomes in our prediction market, and I want people to be able to buy into any given one of those things. So let's see, maybe we have like a function called like purchase, I don't know. And then let's do like a uint 256, maybe we'll call it index. And it will be payable. Hey, that's pretty good. Let's see what this is. No, I don't think we quite want that. Let's see. What we want to do is keep track of how much someone has paid into this. So it's payable. Yeah, so let's see. Let's do this. Let's see, how should we do this? Maybe like an enum. Let's do it like this. Let's do a mapping for an address to a number, and then actually I want another mapping inside of that, maybe. Maybe this is too complicated. Maybe I should do something simpler. Maybe I shouldn't build a prediction market. Maybe we just, let's just sell some things. How about that? How about we let someone buy a thing in our contract and we trigger an event for it or something like that. Maybe they purchase an item and the index is that item. And so we might want to emit an event here. Maybe we want to trigger some other action. Let's get rid of this oracle. Let's just go with purchase and let people buy something. And we'll trigger an event and we'll let them send in money. But I don't know, maybe there's like 5 or 6 different items and they're buying those items. Maybe we want to require, how about we'll require that they send at least 0.001 ether or something like that. Must send at least, there we go. Okay, and then, maybe we, increase, let's see, balances. Yeah, maybe let's do a mapping and we'll have an address to account, and this would be like items bought. I don't know. We're just kind of dinking around here, playing around. So we'll keep track of a mapping of items bought, and so then when someone goes to purchase this item, we will set items bought message.sender plus equals 1. And I don't know. I don't know what else we'll do. But it's up to you. You guys are the Solidity devs. It's up to you to really write this logic in. You can build whatever you want. I'm just kind of showing an example app here. So I guess we let people purchase something and we keep track of the items bought. Let's go play around with it and see if it works. So let's go ahead and deploy this. And let's go see if we can buy some items from our contract. Uh-oh, what did I do here? Balances, right? Yeah, get rid of this. Kind of like the prediction market idea. I should have prepared it a little bit better. But for now, we'll just have a little store that lets people buy things. So let's try that out. So we've got this purchase function now that lets people put in an index. We'll have that in the front end. So let's say you're going to buy item 3, and you're going to need to send in 0.001. And let's see if this works. There we go. So it did work. I was able to trigger the transaction, and the money went into the smart contract. But now it's got me thinking, what happens if that money gets locked in that smart contract? I should probably set up some kind of like owner. And it looks like there is an owner already here. Looks like it's passed in through the constructor. Let's go look at that. It's the deployer. Let's set us up as the owner. Okay. And let's redeploy it and see how that looks. What I want to do is make sure I don't have money locked in the contract. I want to be able to withdraw the money, I guess. So if we were to put this on a live network, we wouldn't want a bunch of money to get trapped inside the contract. So let's see, we're going to buy item 2 for 0.001, and let's hit send. And the money goes into the contract, but now the question is, can we withdraw that money back out? And I'm going to, there's a withdraw function here. Let's go look at that in the code real quick. It was built into the contract before. It looks like it checks to see if you're the owner, and if you are, it sends you the balance of the contract. That's perfect. Let's try it and see if it works. So we have, what, like $3 in the contract, and then we hit withdraw, and hopefully the money's gone. Okay, cool. So you'll spend a lot of time in this loop where you're tinkering with your Solidity, you're in the front end, poking at your contract, you're adding new things to your contract, kind of like what I was doing there where I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a prediction market. Okay, now I'm just gonna make some items that you buy. Like you're still kind of playing around, but Scaffold ETH lets you get in this rhythm where you can make a small change in your Solidity and then go tinker with it in your front end with this nice auto-adapting front end. But let's say we're pretty happy with it, right? Let's say that we like the way our little store works here, and we are going to now maybe work on the front end a little bit, okay? So what is it? It's not happy about this. Oh, you know what we should do? We should maybe emit an event, right? Emit. Yeah, something like that, and then let's throw that event in here. Yeah, there we go. Nice. And then, yeah, the index is there. It's still not happy about that, is it? Let's see if this works. As long as it compiles, I'm happy. Okay, so now we have an event that is emitted when we buy things, but let's go try to buy, item number 1 for 0.001. Let's try this, make sure this works. Okay, cool. So you'll spend more time on your smart contract, but let's say that I've spent weeks or at least days working on my smart contract, getting it right. Really, I'm just kind of tinkering around, so I have this simple little bit of code. But you'll take more time, you'll spend more time on this, you'll get it working, you'll probably want to even write a bunch of tests for it and stuff. But let's say we're happy with it. Let's say the smart contract basically does what we want it to do. Let's now move on to building the front end and have some React talk to our smart contract. So the front end will be over, let's see, we probably want to, let's just have like a couple of buy buttons and a thing that says how many you've purchased or something like that, right? That'd be a very simple front end. So if we get out of Hardhat and get into Next.js, we can find our app here. And this is this page. So if I go to home there, this will take me to this front page here. So what I want to do is kind of clear this stuff out and prepare for adding some code. Let's see, let's clear all of this out. Whoa. Let's see, down to about here. How's that look? There we go, okay. And so then instead of welcome to Scaffold ETH, we'll be like, welcome to my cool crypto store or something like that, right? All right, oh, I spelled it wrong. C-R-Y-P-T-O, there we go. All right, my cool crypto store is ready for business. Now, you'll see that we're using WAGMI for the use account. I can get rid of some of this stuff. And so the WAGMI docs are always really nice. If you need to look anything up, we can just go look that stuff up. Right now, for instance, we're using use account, right? We could go look that up and see how that works. But what it's doing is giving us basically the logged in user here. The connected address is what we're renaming it to, and then we're displaying it here, and that's what creates this nice thing right here. And so just to dive into that a little bit more, look at how this address looks. If we were to take this address component out and just have the raw address right in our front end, it's going to look super ugly, but let's do it just to do it, just to see it. Okay, connected address, if I hit save, oh, no. There we go, yeah, that's what I want. There we go, so now we have like this really ugly address, right? And you don't want to display an address like this in your front end for your users. You'll want to have that nice address component wrapped around it. Let's do that again. I think I can just undo a couple times just to see the difference between this, okay? So instead of just displaying the raw address, we're going to pass it into this nice component, and when I hit save here, then we get this nice looking component that has the blocky or the ENS avatar, the nice little copy button. And then if I click this, it's going to take me to the block explorer. So right now we're on localhost, so it's just the localhost block explorer, but if you were on a live network and you clicked that address, it would take you to that address on the block explorer, whatever network you're on. Okay, so let's set up our store, right? I'm guessing we probably want to have some like buy button, and then we probably want to like read how many items we've purchased or something. So to do that, let's go look at the Scaffold ETH docs. Normally, I would probably already be just like prompting Cursor to write this for me, but I think it's a good practice to show y'all how it works. So instead of prompting the AI, I will actually just like build this thing. Okay, so what I'm looking for is let's see, interacting with your smart contract. And I want to specifically do use scaffold read contract, right? So this is how we're going to read from our contract. I'm just going to copy this code exactly and paste it into my front end. If I can grab a hold of it. There we go. Okay, and we're going to put it with our other hooks here. Okay, and we're going to import it. Okay, and so this is really nice because anytime you make a change to your smart contract, those artifacts are automatically injected into your front end. So watch this. If I go to this function name and I do open quotes, it's going to give me a suggestion for all the different items that are in my smart contract. This is really nice. And I can go here and say, you know, total, like items bought, I think is what we're looking at. Okay, and then that's going to come back here. And let's see, does that take in, what does that smart contract look like? Items bought takes in an address, right? So we'll need to have our address here, and we'll say this is the connected address, right? So hopefully, with just this line of code right here, basically what we're doing is we're going to our smart contract and we're reading how many items we've bought, and we're storing it in this object right here. So let's go maybe down here. Let's see, maybe we'll make a new div. Hopefully I don't have to center it. Okay, let's say items bought, something like that. And then that, and I think I need to do a toString here. I think I've done this a few times before and had that mess up. But let's look and see what we have here. Probably one, okay? There's one item bought. It's really funny that that's not centered, and I was joking about centering a div, but I'm not gonna go center it. It's gonna stay like that. And let's go purchase like item 5 for 0.001. Make sure that counter goes up, right? Make sure we're correctly reading the state. Oops, big int, right? You need to hit that button. Okay, so let's go back and look here. Now our items bought is 2, okay? So it's keeping track of how many items we bought, and it's putting that in the front end. So we're successfully reading from our contract. Now we want to write to our contract. And to do that, I'm going to go to use scaffold write contract. And we'll bring this in here. And we'll import it. And Then we'll grab this button, which is exactly what we need. It's for setting the greeting, so we'll have to do something a little different, but we're getting close. Maybe we'll set up another div here and then throw this in here. And then you can see, oh boy, I don't think I got all of it. Make sure I get all of that. And then paste that in here. Please work. Okay, there we go. So this is a button, and when you click it, let's see, we're going to say buy hat, okay? Yeah, this will be for a hat, and so that will be index 1 maybe, right? And what's the function we need to call? We can do that same thing where we open up the quotes and it goes and looks at our contract and gives us that purchase function. And what does that purchase just takes the index, right? So we're just going to say hats are index 1 for some reason. Why is it not? Oh, maybe it needs to be a big int. Okay, and then value here, we're going to have to send in some money, right? 0, 0, 1, whatever we want to end up charging for this. And import parse ether from VM. All right, let's look and see what we have so far. How is our app looking? So if I hit buy hat, what's going to happen here? Hey, pretty cool. Yeah, item spot goes up, and the hat, and this increments, right? So maybe let's then copy a couple of these buttons. Whoops. Okay, so buy shoes. Whoops. Okay, and maybe that is even more expensive. I don't know. And this will be item 2, for instance. Okay, let's go look and see how that looks. So now I can buy hat, and notice like there's no MetaMask pop-up because we're using those burner wallets, but eventually like we'll have MetaMask and we'll have all that stuff there. So let's see if this works. Uh-oh, what did I do? So I think it needs to be exactly 0.001, doesn't it? Let's try that. Okay, cool. So we have our cool crypto store, we have the items that we've bought so far, and then buttons that allow us to buy more items, right? Very simple, stupid app. You're the builders here. You guys can be creative. You can write some good Solidity. You can build the front end. All I'm trying to do here is just show you how Scaffold ETH can help you build this thing very quickly. So we've got our store basically working. It's super ugly, but it's pretty good. So now I think the next step would be to try to deploy this. So let's see. I've got plenty of time. I could definitely like make this a little bit more advanced, but maybe not. Maybe let's just get this thing all the way out into production and try it out first. Oh, you know what I need is a withdraw, right? I need to make sure that this withdraw works. But I can always just come into the debug and do it, so I think I'm happy with that. Yeah, let's just go with that. Ooh, maybe events. How about we list events? That's a good thing to do here. Let's go to, event history, and I'm going to grab this. And I'll throw it in up here. Okay. And what is our event name? Item purchased. Cool. So we're going to listen to your contract, item purchased. I don't really need much of this stuff. Definitely don't need that. I don't think I need any of this stuff. Let's see what happens. So we should get some events here. And then if I wanted to list those events, let's just like output them in a really ugly way here. Oh, hey, how about that? Oh, thank you. Let's see what that looks like. Uh-oh. Oh, I need to import use scaffold event history. So I'll import that there. There we go, items bought. We definitely don't see our events though. What do we need to do to be able to see our events? Event transaction hash, what is this? I don't even know. Let's do something like just like a pre and just like spit the event out. Huh, I mean that looks, all right, let's go to console log. I don't know what it's doing. Let's see what this event, well, I don't even really care about this key, to be honest. Let's see. Oh man, it's freaking out. Yeah, let's get rid of that. So let's just have this div, and let's have, let's see what things we have on this event. Dot args, dot buyer. Yeah, let's see. It is not liking this. What do I have wrong here? Yeah, okay, no events. I'm scratching it for now. Let's get this thing built and deployed. I'll come back to the events if I have time later. Let's get our store deployed. That's the key here. Okay, how's that looking? Do we have the store? Can I buy a hat? Can I buy some shoes? Does the items go up? Does the contract hold the money? It looks like it is. Looks like it's all working still. Okay, so now, whoa. Let's deploy this thing. Let's put it all the way out into production. So there's going to be two parts of that, right? We need to both deploy our smart contract and deploy our front end. So that will take multiple steps here. I'm going to venture into the yarn generate real quick. This is something new to Scaffold ETH. I hope this works. I might have to do some weird stuff here. Let's see if it does. Okay, cool. So to deploy an app, I'm going to need a deployer account. I can't just use the 0 account on Hardhat or whatever. I'm going to have to actually create an account and fund it. And that's what this does here. It is yarn generate created my account for me, and then I'll do a yarn account, and that's just going to show my deployer account. Okay, and then I'm going to send some money to that. What network should we deploy to? Base, okay? Anybody? I'm gonna go to base. Here we go. So I'm going to put like $1 worth of base into this deployer account. Okay. $1. I'm going to use a Punk wallet, punkwallet.io. It's built with Scaffold ETH 1. Okay, so now we have our smart contract ready to go, and I just sent a few bucks to this deployer account. So now I'm going to do a yarn deploy -- okay, so yarn deploy is what I've been doing this whole time, right? If I hit yarn deploy, it's just going to deploy it locally. But if you do yarn deploy -- network, and then pick whatever network you want to deploy to, let's go to base. Okay, so hopefully this will deploy our smart contract to base, like a live network. We're going to spend real money, and we're going to deploy a real smart contract to a live network with lots of time left. I could make a much more advanced app if we have time. Okay, so I think our app is deployed now, but we still need to do that front end part. We need to set the app to the right network, and you do that right in here. There's a scaffold config file. And this is really handy. This is where you set up all your configurations for different things within your app. And we're just going to change this chain to base. And if I hit save, now come look at our app. You'll notice that the burner wallet went away, and now we have to connect, and we'll use MetaMask. Okay, and I'll connect that. Ooh, I'm not the owner though. We should redeploy this with my MetaMask as the owner so I can withdraw the money. I'm going to do that. So over in my deploy script, It's setting who the owner is right here. I want this dude to be the owner instead. And let's redeploy our contract. And that means that my address will be able to withdraw. It was set to the burner wallet before, and I don't want the burner wallet to be the owner, because then I would have to have burner wallets in production, and you'd rather not. Okay, now let's check this out. So if I go to debug, who is the owner? Okay, I'm the owner, great. And if I were to purchase an item, like a hat, this is a real transaction now. I'm spending real money. I'm putting money, I'm loading $3 up in this contract. Yes, I want to proceed. Bro. Okay, there we go. So we just made our first transaction on our smart contract, and let's see if our items bot goes up, and hopefully it does. And also, hopefully, yeah, I can see that I just executed on a contract too. It's pretty cool when it's a live public network. Items bot is now 1. Fantastic. Okay, let's buy another hat real quick, just to load the contract up some more. Okay, make sure that works, make sure items bot goes up again. And then what we want to do is go make sure we can withdraw the funds back out of the contract. Let's go do that next. So if I go to debug contract, I can kind of like go poke at my contract here. And what I want to do is make sure I can withdraw this $6. So let's make sure the $6 comes back out to me when I hit this withdraw button. So we're watching this money here and this money here to make sure that that works. Yep, got our money back. Okay, cool. So our app, our smart contract is already deployed to base, but our app is still on localhost. Like I said, there's kind of like 2 pieces to deploying this. You need to deploy your smart contract and your front end. So to deploy the front end, I'm going to yarn Vercel YOLO prod. This is my favorite command. And what that does is just like it ignores like type safety and stuff is what that YOLO prod stuff does. I think there's some kind of like checks and stuff, and I just don't want to even deal with that. Okay, so let's see. Now, sure. No. No. It's called Devcon app. Okay. And it's located there. And no, we don't need to modify anything. Okay, so now it's deploying. So we've tinkered with our smart contract where we could set it up so we have the smart contract here, right? We had our smart contract here, and we had this nice debug page. And this was like our initial game loop, right? We wanted to tinker with our smart contract. We wanted to build our smart contract. We weren't quite sure what we wanted yet, but we could kind of like add things into our smart contract and then come over here and kind of feel how they work, right? We can kind of see the things here, we can poke at them and try them, test our assumptions. That was kind of phase 1, was building out this smart contract with this feedback of the debug tab. And then phase 2 was kind of moving into the front end and writing some buttons and some read and write functions, right? That was kind of phase 2. And then phase 3 was deploying the smart contract and the app, and that is on its way to be deployed, but we're waiting on it for a little bit. So there's quite a bit I could do to show off more scaffold ETH stuff, but let me just kind of like pause there and open it up for questions, and maybe those questions will take us down some other rabbit hole. Yeah, go ahead. So you're saying like when I hit buy hat, it immediately updates. There's really small block times on base. So it's not like Ethereum where you make a transaction and you have to wait 15 seconds for that to finish. Like the transactions are happening immediately because they're going to like a central sequencer. Does that make sense? It's just an L2. It's just faster, cheaper L2. On ETH, it would take 15 seconds. I would hit buy hat, and it would wait. You'd have to wait for that block to get validated, basically. So it'd be like a 15-second time between when I hit confirm here and when it actually like lands on chain.
And so like the scaffold, whoa. So in a case where it takes like on another chain like longer, scaffold ETH is like pinging the chain at all times to get the info.
Yeah, that's what that read function is like constantly reading and looking for changes. Let's look at that right here. The items bot, right?
Yeah.
All we said is go to your contract and read items bot for this address. And from then on, this items bot item is up to date with whatever is on chain.
Okay, thanks.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. More questions? Anybody have any more questions about what we've done so far, about how it works, reading and writing to the contract? Anything else? Might just have to build. Oh, here we go. We got a question.
Okay, thank you very much. I've learned many things. But as I was wondering whether I can choose the account to use for deployment. Because when you wanted to deploy the smart contract, you generated an account and sent some Ethers to this account before deploying.
Yes.
So is it possible for me to set the account which I want to use to deploy?
So that is a good question. So I just generated an account, and this is what I like to do, is I like to have an isolated deployer account that is just for this deployment. So I don't want to use another address from somewhere else. I want to create an address just for deploying this contract and put just enough money in it. So it's kind of like a one-time use account. But technically, you could like set some other deployer account in here. The way I'm doing Yarn generate and Yarn account is it's kind of handling the address for me, but I could get in here and like change the private key if I wanted to, I think. Does that make sense? But you really don't want to do that. It's best not to do that. It's best to have a nice isolated account that you put just enough money in and deploy with it. Does that make sense?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I have a second question. Yes, for the front end, so you deploy the smart contract on the blockchain, which is a decentralized platform. But for the front end, you want to deploy it on Vessel. So are there solutions to deploy the front end on a platform which is also decentralized?
That is also a great question. And I think that it's kind of an elephant in the room when we look at like decentralized apps and they all just like live on Vercel or something. You can, I think, export this. You could do like a static build and upload it to like IPFS or something like that. It's just not something we have like, I don't know, if I do a Yarn IPFS, does this work? It used to back in the day. I don't think it does though. Is Carlos and crew here? I don't know if the Sand Garden's here. No, I don't see him. Yes, I think the short answer to that is you could make a static build of your website and upload it to like IPFS or to other services, but it's okay if it's in Vercel because it's open source and really forkable. So if someone wanted to redeploy this somewhere else, they should just be able to fork my code and bring the front end up in Vercel or whatever they want. But good question though, like Vercel is centralized for sure. And so if you're trying to build a decentralized app, you need to make it in a way where people can spin up their own front ends or fork your front end and bring it up on any service. But we just deployed to Vercel for this.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep, good questions. Okay, let's see where our deployment is. Did I do the yarn Vercel? Did that go? Maybe that already happened up here. Let's see if our thing deployed. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Hey, there it is. Okay. So, if you wanted to go buy something from my store, you totally could right now. I could share this URL with you. And of course, I would want to shorten the URL and make it look nice. But I don't know, in about 20 minutes, we were able to tinker with our smart contract. We were able to deploy it to base. And then we were able to deploy our front end to a live URL. And let's go buy some stuff from our store real quick. Okay, let's do a buy hat. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, spend some money, $3. Okay, and now this is at a live URL. So this app is decentralized as far as Base is decentralized and Vercel is decentralized. Someone could definitely like fork this and bring up their own front end on localhost. So, but it is in Vercel, and we were able to buy a hat and buy some shoes from our store, and we're making transactions and they're working. And then maybe we should go sweep that account and empty the contract. Let's go do that next. So let's go look at our contract. Has like $10 in it now. And if we withdraw that, let's see what happens. Please work. Man, that's annoying. I don't know what I'm doing, why it's... Okay, now we're watching to see if this money comes out of here. And if successful, then we built our first decentralized store and deployed it all the way live and sold some shoes and hats, and then we withdrew our money, and it worked. So I was able to buy the items, I have the buttons, I could even like send this URL to you guys could navigate to this, and you could buy hats and shoes also. More questions? Anybody have any questions about Scaffold ETH? I'll be doing a, yes, please.
I saw it briefly showed the built-in block explorer.
Yes.
I think it's pretty awesome. If somebody was using, say they wrote their own tests against localhost, could they use the block explorer, or would that work? Like if they weren't using Scaffold ETH, if they had some pre-written unit tests but wanted to sort of take a peek into the transactions?
Possibly, yeah. So let's go, well, now when I click this, it's not going to go to the Block Explorer, it's going to go to the base Block Explorer. But let's go put the app back on localhost, and then we can look at that. So let's go to, yeah, we just barely touched on that Block Explorer. Let's go look at it. So what I need to do is go to my scaffold config, and I need to, let's set this back to hard hat and hit save. And then our app is going to, just by doing that one change, our app should go back to localhost. Oh, I'm at the live URL. There we go. Here, okay. And it's going to have me switch networks. This is really nice. By the way, if a user comes in and she's on the wrong network, you need to bump them over to the right network. And so Scaffold ETH is going to handle that too. Notice this nice switch. But let's go look at that Block Explorer again. So yeah, I guess that's for that address. What else can we see here? This would be all the transactions here, right? And I can click in and see, you know, there's a purchase of 0.001. Someone called the purchase function. So yes, I think that to answer your question, you could use this Block Explorer to do some local inspection on things. I'm not sure if it was exactly the question, but hopefully that answers it. Like,
I
yeah,
think
go ahead.
so. I just been in situations where I've wished for a local host block explorer.
Yeah, yeah. What you can do, so Block Scout is also another one. You could go get Block Scout. It's an open source block explorer, and you could run that also. Like bring up a Docker container next to it, and it would also work. But yeah, this is kind of rough, but it would work. It would do what you want, I think. It would kind of tell you, you can kind of see all the transactions there that are happening.
Cool.
Okay, so our store is up. We put it on base. Kind of just to recap, sort of like phase one is editing the smart contract and playing with it in this debug tab. So you'll get Scaffold ETH downloaded, you'll tinker with your Solidity, and you'll kind of play with it here, getting it written correctly. Maybe, you know, do I want to use arrays? Do I want to use structs? Like, how do I want to build this thing? That's kind of like phase one is tinkering with your smart contract, testing your assumptions, poking at it with this debug side. Then phase two was that front end, right? We had to do the read contracts, we had to do the write contracts, and to do that, I just like jumped into the docs and kind of copy pasted them. You wrote the Block Explorer, right? Yeah, that's port. So phase two was kind of that front end where I was putting in buttons and reading and writing from the smart contract, and I just used the docs here to copy paste how to read from a contract, how to write to a contract, and that was kind of phase two, getting my front end going. And then phase three was deployment, right? We deployed the smart contract, we deployed the app, and now they're all live talking to each other. And you can do this anytime you want by just going to scaffoldeth.io, and you can clone down the repo, or you can do this npx create eth. Okay, more questions? Any more questions? Yes, sir.
If you would want to integrate more common building blocks, maybe like chain link functions or like a graph or something, is there anything we have to pay special attention to, or would it just work out of the box?
That's a great question. So the short answer to that is there is an external contracts file right here. And so whatever contract you wanted to talk to, like in this case we have DAI on mainnet, what you would do is whatever contract you wanted to talk to, you would put that in here, and then you can just talk to it with the read and write functions from Scaffold ETH. So let me see, like chain link functions. I don't think I could put that in right now, but yeah, I think the short answer there is if you want to go talk to an external contract, there's this external contracts file here in Next.js. And you can use that to list out the contract you want to talk to, and then the read and writes from Scaffold ETH would work the same. Does that sort of answer that question? You may even like possibly have multiple contracts here. You might like inherit from another contract or something like that, but yeah, the things to look out for would be, I don't know, you need to be on the right network. Just have that contract in your external contracts and then start talking to it normally. More questions about Scaffold ETH, about building on ETH, about what we did today? Any other questions? Maybe I could go back and work on that event page for a little bit. I kind of did the speed run. It was a little bit too fast, but let's see here. Let's see if we can get this history going. I kind of want to dink with that, see if I can get it working.
Sorry, I have one
yes,
question.
Please. Yes, please. Where
Over
are
there.
Yeah, is there anything that lists the full stack that Scaffold ETH uses?
Yeah, it's here on the website. So Next.js, RainbowKit, WAGMI, TypeScript. Anything in particular you're looking for, or?
Just wondering if there's a list of like all the different tools that are floating in there. Like I see there's a difference between Foundry and Hardhat. I don't know if the differences between them or anything like that.
So yeah, you at the beginning when we did that MPX create ETH, it gave me the choice Foundry or hard hat, and you basically can choose. And Scaffold ETH kind of keeps that abstraction above, so when you do yarn deploy, it's going to deploy whether you're using hard hat or Foundry, and it kind of takes, abstracts that away. So it's easier for you. You just do yarn deploy whether you're using one or the other.
Is there anything else to know with like Vercel just popped in as well? Anything else on the side?
It's hard to be able to think about all the things you might need to know.
Well, that's included in Scaffold. I mean.
Yes. Scaffold ETH comes with either hard hat or Foundry for your orchestration, and then Next.js for your app. And within that, we have Rainbow Kit, WagMe, TypeScript. Cool? Yeah. More questions? Any other questions? Yes?
Is this available for React Native?
I think there is a Scaffold ETH React Native.
Yeah, I've tried that, but I couldn't get it to work.
React
it's
Native?
probably me, but-
Yeah, I don't know. We had one a long time ago, but I don't know if we still have it.
Okay.
A good way to find these things is to go to the build guild, like our actual app here, and then go look at builds. Maybe we could even search this native. Let's see what comes up here. Yeah, Scaffold ETH React Native. You said you've already tried that one and it didn't work?
Yeah, but it was probably, was doing something
Yeah, it's
wrong probably. Yeah.
pretty old, yeah. Yeah, because this is, you have to like reinvent a lot of things here.
Yeah, isn't this like the first version of Scaffold? or
Yeah, this is like an older version of Scaffold ETH too. Yeah, so I don't think we have an up-to-date React
Yeah, no
Native
worries.
version. Yeah.
Thanks.
Any more questions? So later today, I will be doing a similar talk, but I'm going to go through building your first 5 apps. So let me just introduce that before I take off here. It's Speedrun Ethereum. So if you haven't heard of Speedrun Ethereum is a curriculum that will help you learn how to build on Ethereum by having to actually build a bunch of things. It'll take you through building a simple NFT, a decentralized staking app, a token vendor, a dice game, a DEX. So this will take you through and have you build the thing, and it won't let you just copy paste. You'll have to like think for yourself and actually build the thing. And so this is a really good way to learn how to build things by just building a bunch of things. And I'll be going over each one of these in more detail this afternoon. I don't know what time that is, later today. But yeah, so Build Guild is the DAO that's kind of around all of this stuff. That's how we're funded. We're funded through the Ethereum Foundation, and we work on tooling like Scaffold ETH. Let's look at the extension system too. So when we did that MPX create ETH command, here, let me show this. When we ran this command, there's an option to do a -e, which would be an extension, and that lets you bring in a lot of other tooling. So for example, let's go look at, yeah, here we go, onchain kit. So here is an onchain kit extension. So let's even just like copy this. I'm just gonna create a new folder and run this again. Let's see. Oops, I don't want to do that. Yeah, okay. So it's MPX create ETH, latest, and then we have this -e on-chain kit. And so what this is going to do is it's going to use this on-chain kit extension and bring in the on-chain kit stuff along with Scaffold ETH. And this is really handy. You can build, oh no. Oh no. Uh-oh. Ooh, that's not good. Let's try another extension. Let's see if one of these other ones works. I think something's broken with, yeah, say you wanted to do subgraph. You'll look for Kevin Jones. He'll be doing a talk not tomorrow, but the next day, and he'll do something with the graph where he does some indexing. Let's see if all of this fails or... Uh-oh. We're going to have to fix that. Something is definitely wrong here where the extensions aren't loading in. I'm not sure what that problem is. But the extension system is really nice because you can bring in some extra components. For instance, you could bring in, like we were looking at on-chain kit there, right? So you could bring in some of bases, like their smart contract wallet, their swap component, their token selector. You can kind of just like, with one line, when this is working, I'll need to fix it. I don't know what's broken right now, but with one line, you can basically install Scaffold ETH and these extra extensions, and it's just going to speed up your process of building even more. But I can't show off extensions because it's broken right now. I will have to figure that out. Okay, so to recap, Scaffold ETH is a great tool for prototyping, but also easy to deploy to production. We saw today, in only like 20 minutes, I was able to write the smart contract, test it out a little bit, build a front end that talks to the smart contract, and then deploy that whole thing both to Base and also to Vercel. And so you should be able to do this at home also. Just go to scaffoldeth.io and you can get started today. And then Speedrun Ethereum is a good way to kind of double click on that and go a little bit deeper and learn about more concepts by actually building some things. That might be all that I have. Any more questions? Definitely open to questions. I'm Austin Griffith on Twitter. I'm this dude. Oh man, internet is slow. Oh no. Maybe that's what this is, or maybe it's just like the internet's. Nah. What's that? Oh, really? The npx-e is? Do I need to make a directory or something? Let me see. Let's do test and then cd into test. Oh, I wanted to show that I was this dude. This guy, Austin Griffith. Yeah. I can't do it right now. I don't know what's wrong. Okay, anyways. Let's see. And then let's run that again. Nope, I don't know. I don't know what it's doing. It could be. Oh, it's telling me that there's rate limits? Yikes. On GitHub, is that what it is? Oh yeah. Wild. Okay. That is a new one. We'll have to look at that one. I'll pass that on to the Scaffold ETH team. Yeah, okay. So in recap, Scaffold ETH 2, great tool for both debugging and also shipping apps. It's a great way for you to tinker and kind of figure things out as you go. Once you have Scaffold ETH and you figured that out, go to Speedrun Ethereum and take on these challenges. There's a bunch of things to build here, and that's going to teach you a lot of things. And then at the Build Guild, as you go through Speedrun Ethereum, we even have like onboarding batches and small grants available. And I think that's it. I'm very open to questions, though, if you guys have any more questions. I'm 20 minutes early, but the app, it was quick. It deployed fast. Yeah. Oh, thank you. We do have time to kill if anybody has any questions. Just leave it open out there. Shout them out if you have them.
I'll kill some time.
What do you got? What do you got?
So, what's the kind of... Oh, thanks. I sound loud enough already, right?
Yeah.
Hi. Oh, that's too loud.
For the online person.
Hey. Yeah, so when you fork from Scaffold ETH and you make your own apps, obviously there's going to be improvements released to Scaffold ETH. So how easy is it to benefit from those improvements if you fork the project? There's a lot of the improvements, are they like scoped into dedicated libraries and stuff like that?
That's a great question, and it sets me up to talk about our extension system.
Let's go.
Yeah. So going back to that extension system that wasn't working right now because it's rate limited, the point is you can have, so an extension is basically just some Solidity, and some front end. And the Solidity and the front end aren't probably going to change that much, but you're right. Like if a new version of WAGMI comes out, you'd like to have that new version in your app. So with the extension system, you basically build an extension out of your stuff, and then it stays state of the art. Whatever new stuff comes in from Scaffold ETH just comes in. You could fork it, but then you have to like keep that merged downwind, down chain, down whatever it is, downstream. I think that was what I was going for. Yeah. So I guess the answer is yes, you will have to keep merging new changes to Scaffold ETH if you end up forking it. And there are, improvements that happen regularly that you would probably want to pull down. But the best way to do it is to make it an extension and then have just the latest Scaffold ETH at all times and just your smart contract and your front end injected into that latest version. Any other questions? Yeah.
Suppose I wanted to use Scaffold ETH against like a hard hat fork of, say, Base. Is that?
Yeah. Let's go. So instead of so here's my blockchain right here, right? If I kill that, oh no, my screen's not there. That's okay. So you just do a yarn fork. The too long didn't read there is instead of yarn deploy, or instead of yarn chain, which is what we use to bring up our chain, you do a yarn fork. And that's going to fork mainnet or Base or whatever. You have to supply like what network you want to fork, but yes, that's not going to work. But yarn fork is the answer, yeah. And Foundry works a lot better, I think, than Hard Hat at that. It's a lot faster. Any other closing questions? Thank you guys for coming out and checking out Scaffold ETH. Make sure to hit up scaffoldeth.io. Make sure to hit up speedrunethereum.com. Tell your friends if they're looking to get into building on chain to go speedrun Ethereum. And yeah, keep your eyes out for the Build Guild and the stuff that we're building. Any final questions?
What are you working on right now?
Oh. That's a good question. I think that we as the Build Guild want to do better medium to hard curriculum. Speedrun Ethereum is a good start, but it really doesn't quite prepare you for building your own protocol, for instance. And so what we would like to do is create some medium to hard curriculum that gets you closer to mainstream apps and building your own protocol. And I think that looks like a handful of different things. We've got Elliot working on the ETH Dev tech tree, which is a really cool kind of tech tree that's built out. That's kind of an offshoot of this. If you go all the way to the bottom of buildguild.com, there's a tech tree here, and it's like this really gross Miro board of mine. But it takes you through all these different concepts and kind of like the tech tree of all the different concepts behind like tokenization and DeFi and all of that stuff. So this is kind of what we're working on right now. It's just medium to hard content. We've got the tech tree. We have a CTF, Capture the Flag, that we'll be playing tomorrow. Keep an eye out for Build Guild. We're going to have a morning session where I do something similar that I did here, and then an afternoon session where we'll play the Capture the Flag, and you'll take on some challenges from the Build Guild. And a third thing, I think, in terms of medium to hard content and what we're working on, there's like this idea that's brewing in the back of my head that's kind of like this agent-based game, where it's like you have to build a Dutch auction, and there's like hundreds of agents, and they want to use your smart contract, and it's all just like localhost and for fun, but it helps you get a feeling for what a live protocol might be like, and having lots of users use it, even though it's just localhost and fun. But I think somewhere in the cross section of the ETH Dev tech tree, our CTF, and this like agent-based idea, hopefully we converge on a good medium to hard curriculum and kind of extend we're not going to call it the speed run because the speed run is kind of like beginner. We're going to call it something else. Maybe ETH Dev Tech Tree is what we go with, but it'll be its own meme, but something along those lines. Medium to hard, get people prepared to like build their own protocols. Yes, sir.
Why is it misspelled?
Yeah, okay, that's a great question. It's misspelled? So it's like going back to the old like hodl meme, right? Like back in the day with Bitcoin, someone would say hold or hodl, and then someone from the ETH space kind of reframed it to biddle, and so we thought it was a cool name, and we went with biddle giddle, but I just say build guild. But yeah, it's a play on that old hodl meme from crypto. Yep.
Can we use a...
I'll restate the question, maybe.
I want to ask, 80 minutes has been very long. 80 minutes has been very long time. Can we reduce to 10 minutes with ChatGPT?
Oh, yes. Yes, ChatGPT is way better. Let's just go do that real quick, just to show that. So let's say we were like on the front end, right? And we had those buttons. Let me just clean this out real quick. Yes. With Cursor and ChatGPT, it's so smooth. But let's say, let's go down here. Let's just tell it to add another button, right? Add another button for buy coats or something like that, right? Let's see what it does. Okay, and then I just hit apply and save, and now hopefully our app can have a buy coats button too there. So yes, it's way faster with ChatGPT. Oh, yes,
How
sir.
is testing, unit testing?
Yes, so that will rely on either Hard Hat or Foundry, depending on which one you want. Foundry would be your tests are in Solidity, Hard Hat would be tests in TypeScript, but there is just like a test folder here that has like an example test in it, right here. And so, yeah, so here's the test right here. And then you can run that by doing yarn test. Oh, maybe not. Nope, it is not yarn test. Maybe I need to Hard Hat test. Oh, I'm in the wrong one, yep. Let's go to that Devcon folder. Yarn test. Yeah, there we go. So then it runs your tests for you. Yeah, so it relies on either Hard Hat or Foundry, depending on what you use. But again, it kind of abstracts it away to just yarn test. Cool. Cool? Yeah. Only 11 minutes left. Yeah. Oh, you want to look at the test? Yeah. You're saying this test here, right? Yeah. Is that code big enough? So yeah, let's see what it's doing. So it's gonna set up the signers and get the contract ready. It deploys it, and then it's gonna expect that some certain thing. So you should be able to set the greeting, right? So we do a set greeting here, or maybe we're just getting the greeting and we're expecting it to be that string. So when we deploy it, it should have that as the string. So it's basically just checking that the greeting is correct. And then here it is setting the greeting and then checking that it's set correctly. All right, last chance for questions. If you have any more questions. You got one? You got a spicy one? Let's go.
So why do you have Hard Hat as the default option? Because I would kind of consider it sort of, not deprecated, but kind of legacy.
True. So to defend the Hard Hat dudes, yes, they are, like Foundry has kind of
big respect to them, by the way.
Yes.
Like, it's great tech, but I just mean, I feel like Foundry is so much more popular now.
Yep, I agree. And I think that the hard hat dudes are speeding up. Like I think they're even using Revum now underneath, so they're using some of the Foundry stuff. And I think that hard hat is a little bit better for deploying contracts. But the short answer is, when we built Scaffold ETH, we used hard hat at first, and we're now transitioning to Foundry, and it will be Foundry by default very soon. No, not that spicy.
I guess not.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, thank you. Go speedrun Ethereum. Go use Scaffold ETH and go build something cool. Thanks a lot.